I have God's done a lot of work in me over the last, well, he's always working on us. And so I just want to share some of the things that he's taught me. And I have also found one of the things that he showed me at the silent retreat was that I really had a lot of walls up as a leader. And Jan and I were talking about this at lunch the other day about how it's easy to put walls up because you've been hurt. Right? And those of you that have been around for a while, you have seen me pour into people and lose people and have them go away. And just God made it very real to me that that's not fair to the other people. Does that make sense? And so I want to do this till number one, let you in, but also, which is of course scary and nervous, but I also can tell you that means that once you become a director, you can't leave. Okay? Not allowed to leave. Don't leave us. I heard some national stations like, just so you know, there's no divorces. Once you become a director, you're not allowed to leave. In all seriousness, I mean, because I've poured into people, and one of the hardest things you do as a leader is you lose a director. And I've lost a lot of directors. And, it's one thing, as a consultant, it's another thing as a leader because you pour into people and you connect with people and you do life with people and you help them grow as a person. Does that make sense? So I'm going to let y'all in, and I'm scared and I'm nervous, but I'm excited to really grow with you. And I want to share just kind of what God's done with me. And then I would love to have us just share maybe some of the lessons, first of all. And then the other thing that we're going to talk about is I want you to leave with a powerful plan on what you're doing to work on you. Because here's what I know. And Mary Kay Ash said this. You are either growing or rotting. There's only two options. You're either growing or rotting. And if you're not growing right now and intentional about your growth, then you're probably rotting.
That's I know.
That's what it's going to make everyone nervous. I get it. And as a leader, it's so easy to get comfortable, especially as a director and as a DIQ and a red. Everyone looks up to you, and it's really easy to get comfortable and to not be intentionally growing. So we're going to leave today with a plan of attack for growing. Are you ready to have a plan of attack? We're going to talk about that second. But I'm just going to be vulnerable and honest and share with you guys that I have been in a really bad slump over the last 5 to 6 weeks. And don't roll your eyes. So can you relate? But not to push you on the spot. Okay. But here's the deal: is I want to be honest with you, because I think you guys look at me as a leader Monday nights. Woo! I got my game on. I pray. And when I'm down, I pray even harder that I would get over myself and that I would minister to other women regardless of how I'm feeling or regardless of what just happened 5 minutes ago. That as a leader, what you do is you go into that meeting. Hold on, I gotta mute the background noise. What you do as a leader is you go into your meeting, you go in to pour into the people, not focus on you. You focus on them, right? But I had gotten in a slump because I had stopped working on me. I'd gotten comfortable. And I've had a lot of success. Actually it happened since Career Conference. Career Conference was a huge high. Of course, we're number one in sales and recruiting, and that has never happened. And I don't know if any of my friends ever had that happen, or it don't happen very often. So it's a huge high, but I got comfortable and stopped growing. And so the lessons that I learned, and then I had a great conversation. You know how when you're in a slump and you know it, and you try and get out of it, and you try and just pretend it's not there, and you work and pretend it's not there and try and stay busy and just hope it'll go away. Anyone done that? Done that? And you stay busy just being busy. But I actually had a great conversation with Suzanne Brothers. It happened when Courtney and I were supposed to meet somewhere.
That's she's like, oh, okay.
And I'm like, I'm sorry, Courtney. But anyways. Yeah. Anyways. And that was a huge gift that she took the time to, because at Career Conference, she's like, Candace, who do you have in your life that asks you the tough questions? And I'm like, yeah.
No.
And anyway, so it was really awesome of her. Anyway, so she just reminded me over the last week, whenever it was last week sometime, that I had to take the time to work on me so I can sharpen my axe so that I could be a better leader, because that slump is not just going to go away. It's not just going to go away. That you have to intentionally work on here. And I had to take the time. I literally took an afternoon and just spent the time with the Lord, just being still and hearing his voice. And I had to pull away from the busyness and just regroup. And I've just been on a silent retreat like a month ago, but it happens that quick. And that the devil will attack you, especially as a leader, quick. And so she reminded me that, okay, instead of beating myself up for going through a slump, what lessons did you learn? So I'm going to share with you the lessons that I've learned over the last few weeks. Not because here's the deal, is that if you look at every time that you go backwards as a lesson and take the lesson, learn the lesson and not beat yourself up, you'll move a lot quicker. Does that make sense? And so whatever over the last few months that did or didn't happen in your business, I want us to talk about what lessons did you learn? Because we go straight to beating ourselves up, right? So the lesson, so I took some time to journal and through processing with her and other things. And number one is the devil will always attack after a big high. I want you to write that down. And I hope that through my experience, I can warn you and help you, can help prepare you that after a big high, just finishing directorship. This is a great example right here. I'm sorry, Christina, but it is a great example. That is exactly and so indicative of the devil trying to cause you to lose your confidence and doubt yourself and question yourself as a leader. That he is a sneaky little thing. And so career conference was a huge high, came home and literally had just some huge major things happen. The devil knows the things that are going to get under your skin. So it wasn't anything in my business. It was more my personal life, come home and get in a huge blowout, knockdown fight with my husband. That's not something that decreases my confidence more than anything. Do you know what I mean? Because, that's a whole other conversation. But I'm just saying like that. But then also other things like the devil attacked my value as a person. Do you know what I mean? And he made me feel inadequate and that I couldn't lead. And who am I to lead? Who am I to be this person? If they really knew all this stuff going on, or, that I wasn't perfect and didn't have my life together, that it's stupid stuff, right? Do you know what I mean? And so the devil will attack your insecurities, and he will attack the things closest to you, the things that he knows will derail you in a minute. And so it took me a minute to just step back and realize that what was going on here so that I could, just regroup and get a handle on it and fight it. The other lesson that I learned is, and I will tell you too, going along with that, I have to say one more thing about the huge high. So this year, we were number one last year in the nation and blah, blah, blah. It was so exciting. But there were some huge attacks that happened after that. And I wasn't prepared for it. So I thought I learned my lesson before is what I'm telling you. But I didn't learn the lesson. I didn't learn the lesson. And that's why I'm talking about it, to just let you know that be prepared. That, just getting into your red jacket, getting into DIQ, whatever, it's a big win, but you better believe that cancellations are going to come more than ever. And you're going to have more frustration getting your appointments on your books and getting the names that's going to cause you to doubt yourself and question whether.
Like last week?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just saying that's normal, but if you can recognize it, you can pick yourself back up quicker. The second thing that the devil attacked me on, the lesson I learned is that when you train on something that is going to be really powerful, and I know Darla was in my director class, and I trained, a lot of it was on your value and finding your value as a person, in God, and not in what you do, and not in what you, your status or your, director suit or your car, or and then teaching other people to do the same thing. And guess what? That same thing that I was teaching on, the devil was attacking my identity over and over again. So if you are going to put yourself out there and really do big things for God, you better be prepared for the attacks, is what I'm telling you. And I found that I had gotten lazy in being on my guard, right? Being lazy and putting on the armor of God daily, and being lazy on, exercising and doing all those things to take care of yourself, right? And so it sideswiped me. I'm not going to lie. But my hope and prayer in sharing is that I'm just like you. I think sometimes you guys look at us or me as a director and think, oh, she never's down. She never has a tough day. You don't hear about it. You don't hear about it. I don't call and complain to you. I reach out, Well, I have friends that I talk to. Obviously, I don't have a national or anybody that I can reach up to and call and complain. It's not about complaining, but you got to have somebody you can talk to.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And somebody that you can be honest with and say, hey, I'm not doing awesome today, And anyways, so I want to share about that, but also to let you know that that I struggle with the same feelings I know a lot of you do of feeling inadequate and whether you're good enough to lead, other people. And I want you to know that that's totally from the devil. Mm-hmm. That to lead, all you have to do is care about people. If you truly want to help other people, you'll be a great leader. And you can't do it on your own. That's where you got to make sure that you're getting your fuel source from the right place. And I know all of you believe in God. And so, but I can tell you over the last couple of years, I've had huge increase in my business. And the biggest difference that has happened is I've grown closer with the Lord. That is why I've succeeded in my business. It's not the opposite. And I think sometimes we think, and Suzanne and I talked about this too, sometimes we think if we work harder and just do more, if I just see more faces, then I'll get where I want to go. But we have it backwards. No, when you take the time to work on you and you are sharper, then you can, those faces you see will be more effective. Does that make sense? Okay. So I've sold you on the fact that we need to work on ourselves, right? But I do want to talk. So those are the lessons that I've learned over the last few weeks. Anyone have any lessons? Lessons, we're not going to go negative because we are straight to beating ourselves up. That's what we do as women, is we go straight to beating ourselves up. And I kept beating myself up, being like, Candace, come on, get over it. Like, what the heck? Come on, you're better than this. Like, God's called you to work. Come on. That didn't work. It didn't work. It didn't work for me, so it's probably not going to work for you guys. Good luck. You may have a bigger whip. Well, it did work. What did work? Number one, reaching up and talking to someone about it who could see it externally and not because most of it, for me, I go straight to shame. There must be something wrong with me, right? And when you're talking to someone else who doesn't think that way about you, they can see it objectively. So that, first of all, and she just asked me questions and basically was like, what do you need to do? I'm like, well, I need to be still with God and listen to what he says about the situation. And so for me, I needed to take the time to be alone and to fall flat on my face and say, I'm sorry, and let him fill me up. Because the thing is, all of you know what to do. Mm-hmm. And this business is not about faces. And I mean, that's part of the process, but when you're operating in your game and when you are so on fire for something and you know who you are and you're living full out towards something, people can't help but be gravitated to you. You know what I mean? And so I took the time to work on me, which is what we're going to talk about, is making sure that you lead with a plan. And you're very intentional about working on you, because here's the thing is it's easier to do the faces and the worm shedding and focus on that. It's harder to work on here. You have to be very intentional about it.
Scary.
So I got very intentional, which is what we're going to talk about, is that make a plan of how you work on you and how you work on those limiting doubts and those limiting fears, because they don't just go away. And we want them to go away, but they don't just go away. You have to work on them and fight them. And it's not easy. It's not easy to fight for your freedom. It's not easy for fight for what you want. But here's what I know, and this is what I'm so passionate about. By you fighting for your freedom from the lies and the walls and the past and the insecurities, you're going to help 3 other women. Mm-hmm. That God reminded me of that I need to fight harder for my freedom than anything else so that I can help you guys. Does that make sense? I need to fight harder for my, making sure that I find my value in the right place so I can teach you. Right? So it looks different for everyone. There's not a formula. But what I do know is you have to be very intentional about it. You have to fight. It doesn't go away. So what lessons have you guys learned? We'll share those really quickly. And we'll talk about plan. What lessons have we learned over the last, what's God doing with any of you guys? Yes.
You don't like you get discouraged about something not going the way you hope it goes, but then you don't know who the next person you're going to touch.
Yes.
And if you let that discouragement hold you down, you're not going to be able to reach the next person that needs to be reached.
Yep.
So just keep pushing through.
Yep. Absolutely. You don't know who's around the corner.
And really pressing into the Word. And it doesn't have to be the conventional sit down and read your Bible. Like I've been getting fed through ministries that I've been watching videos with on-time words. And actually this morning, one of the words that I got while I was getting ready for church was that the no and the rejection is to get you to the yes and where you're supposed to be.
Rejection is God's protection.
Amen. So just to stay focused on, okay, well, this didn't work out. Now what? What's next?
Right.
Who do you have next for me? So.
I love it. You know, and you brought up a great point about, I mean, I am very intentional about listening to sermons and constantly filling my mind with something positive. And the sermon I listened to this morning it talked about, it's from Stephen Furtick. I love him, but he talked about how changing your attitude of whatever did or didn't happen, instead of just accepting it, actually be thankful for it. So that's a whole different mindset. Instead of just dealing with, oh, I didn't make DIQ my first time. Just happened to pick
That's
it.
okay.
Oh, I didn't get the names that I wanted last week. I'm just picking on you because I know what happened this last week. Oh, I didn't, get the names I wanted. Oh, my appointments didn't cancel. Instead of, not just accepting it, but being grateful for it and thanking God for it, that when you are truly thankful, it changes how you go into the expectation of what God's got next for you. That we tend to look at what didn't happen, maybe in our businesses, if we've set a goal and it didn't happen, that we tend to look at it with bitterness and resentment and frustration. And he said, what do you call it? Is something back? I'm following you. Oh, okay. What do you say? What was the other one? It was R and R. Resentment and regret. He said those two. He said the devil's two favorite things, two favorite R's, is regret and resentment. He said regret is actually resentment turned inwards. Not not deep. Is that your the R, two big R and R's the devil uses are regret and resentment. And he said a regret is actually resentment turned inwards, where you're actually mad at yourself. You tend to resent yourself for what you did or didn't do, or what did or didn't happen. So how does that apply in our businesses? Like, let's say you didn't reach a goal, instead of being so mad at your team because it didn't come together, which 4 fingers point back at you, just FYI, when you're pointing fingers at your team, just so you know that you can't, but I have seen people get this way, and I've gotten this way where I get very resentful towards the team. And that is not a healthy place to lead. You cannot lead people mad and frustrated. You cannot lead in frustration. You can only lead in love. If you lead in frustration, you will only get more frustrated. You will only get more frustrated. That you want to lead people with love. You don't want to lead them with a heavy stick and be like, order, order, order. People will run away very quickly. You have to love people, and you can't lead in frustration. Okay? Anyways, why was I sharing all that? Going along with Dina's comment about how basically be grateful for what didn't happen. And when you're to that place, then it changes your energy, and you can look at what God has in store for you with excitement and anticipation and expectation of the good, instead of thinking it's all going to happen bad. Because I've seen y'all do it, myself included. Well, I was not going to set the goal for DIQ because it didn't happen last month, so it's just not going to happen this month. So I might as well not even set it. That's when someone poked someone over here. Only 4 more. You can do that today if you wanted. Anyways, so thank you, Dina. That is a great lesson. Any other lessons? And then I'd love to have us talk about a plan. Any other lessons you feel like? But does that mindset just shift, that like looking at what didn't happen as a lesson instead of going straight to what's wrong with me?
Being thankful for that.
and being thankful.
Yeah.
And then that's the next step of truly working through it is being thankful. I think you should share it.
One of the things that I learned is like be thankful for the lesson, but you need to. I think the biggest part is forgiving ourselves.
Yes.
Yes.
When we don't get what we
Striving, I don't know, whatever, something, we get the point. Whatever you're going for.
Yeah, whatever you're going for. But the forgiveness piece is, I think, the part that we forget. If we put all these things together, it's fine to be thankful for and to pay attention to the lesson, but forgiving yourself.
Yes.
If you don't
That's
do that
huge.
part, you're
Yeah.
not moving.
I'm glad you shared that. That's huge. So you gonna do that?
Yeah.
And I think that's a process too,
Yeah.
that you forgive yourself, but the devil will bring it back.
So you have to continually forgive yourself. It can't be just like,
Yeah, and you have to say, oh no, we dealt with that. I forgave myself. Thank you for the reminder, but I've forgiven myself for that.
Because you ask God to forgive you all these things, but you never.
Right. That's huge.
Yeah.
And that's harder than we can forgive other people
Yeah.
and forgive ourselves. Thank
So
you.
sometimes maybe if you feel like the resentment is towards your team,
Yeah.
I agree, because we know that when we're not doing what we need to do, then it's easier to focus on them and say, well, maybe they'll work harder. No, you're really mad at yourself.
Yeah.
Yep. You got it. You got it. Yeah. And I'll just be 100% honest, and they can probably still hear me, but last month we had our worst month we've had all year long. And granted, it was because, and it wasn't because of the team, it was because I knew I wasn't doing the work that I need to do to replace both of the, no offense to either of you, that's my job. That's my job. And I am take full responsibility. Doesn't have to. If you, if I kept working, it'd be different. It is.
All these people just left.
It is. I lost now 60 people, but I know if I did more, we wouldn't have done that. Because last year I had the same thing happen when Darby and Brianna Osprung, but we didn't have the dip.
Right.
So all I'm saying is I take full responsibility, and I am not blaming my unit, because then you get bitter,
Yeah.
and you can't lead in bitterness, you can't lead in frustration, you cannot lead that way. No. So I'm just being honest and sharing what's going on. All right. Darla had
The
it.
biggest thing the past couple weeks, you've it's I can only control what I'm doing. I can't control what other people are doing. I can't control what my team is doing. I can't control the yeses. I can't control the no's, obviously. But I'm continually doing this stuff for me. I've been starting. I've got the Supernatural Ways of Worlds books, but I started reading that again. I started one chapter and then I forgot about it for like 2 weeks, and I was like, oh yeah, I got this book. I need to read it. So before I went out the other day, I focused on that and doing some inward stuff. I was like, all right, God, whatever happens, I'm doing this for you. Like, this is what. And my goal, I set a huge goal for myself, because I was like, oh, I'm out for 3 hours. You can totally do it. I did not get it. But when I told you, you're like, dude, no, like, you got those really good things happen.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, yeah, I can't control who says yes, but I can control is how I go out there, my attitude out there, which is also an inward thing that I've had to work at too. So that's something that every day I have to like repeat to myself, like, hey, I can't control what everyone else says. I can't control the cancellations. I can't control the yeses on any of the warm chatting. I can't control the buys. All I can control is, well, I've given you the information. That was what I was supposed to do.
Yep.
So,
And not be attached to the outcome. And I think that's one thing that you have to learn, is to not be so obsessed with the outcome. We want the outcome. We want the recruit. We want the sale. We want the this. We want the this.
yeah.
We want that, but you've got to focus on the activity and what you can control. And when you release the outcome to God, like, it's so freeing.
Well, like yesterday, I went into an appointment and I was like, I just had an inkling to do this differently. And it worked out really well in my favor. But it was like, if I would have just, done whatever and focused on, okay, she's going to buy this and this, it wouldn't have gone that way. I went in to make sure that she was happy, make sure whatever happens. And I even told her, I was like, you can do what you want today. I'm not going to force you to do anything. And it went really well. But that's been the biggest thing for me, because before it was, well, I'm going to go in and expect $1,000 sale. I'm going to go in expecting 5 new recruits. I'm going to go in expecting this. And when I did that, I didn't get anything. The
No,
dads I go in, I'm like,
frustrating.
oh, we're just gonna have fun tonight. Like I tell them flat out, we're just gonna have fun, we're gonna hang out, and those have been my biggest, the biggest things happen.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay,
You're having
So-
fun.
yeah.
It's good.
I don't know if that's, I guess it is a big thing, but
It's
I
good.
don't know if it is for me at least.
Good.
'Cause I'm a
Love it.
very control
No,
freak.
thank you. Yeah. Most leaders are control freaks. Welcome to the club. But that's the biggest thing we have to work on is giving that control over. It's not easy to do.
No, never.
Darla, do you have a lesson? Yes, do share. Love to hear from you.
Well, so I don't know. You guys probably don't know a lot about me.
No, we don't. They don't know you at all.
I
So I wanted you to
know.
come.
So I would say the last probably almost 2 months now, I've been going through a lot of health issues. But, you know, it's all good and stuff, but it's been like treatments have been just crazy
Mm.
in every way. And it's not nothing major, you know.
Mhm.
It's just all has to do with my veins. and stuff, you know.
Mhm.
So I didn't think going into it, I didn't think that it was going to be as extensive as it was.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh gosh, because you know, when they do treatment, it's like I'm down like for a whole day and sometimes the next day. So kind of crazy. But then in the meantime, what's kind of funny is that my doctor is telling me, you have to walk every day. I'm like, okay. So that's what has been helping me, like myself and internally, just making sure that like I'm eating good
Right.
and my exercise and stuff. And that has been huge.
Yes.
Because that's what has really been missing. And I've always
Mhm.
done it and I liked it, but it
Bless
was
you.
missing
Mm.
a lot and just the consistency. So I feel good now.
Good.
I'm almost done. I have one more.
Yay!
One more treatment.
And
One
it
more.
worked. It's worked.
Yes, it's like has been huge. But it's also that I've started working also on myself too because of I'm very intentional every morning that I do my like daily devotions and stuff, and that is huge.
Right.
So that that was another thing that I was missing because I was just kind of like, just do it, and stuff like that, pick it up whenever I can, whatever. But doing that every single morning,
Mm-hmm.
and then just making sure that I always put God first
Mm-hmm.
in my life in anything I do. So I have a friend, and she's a national, and she said that's how she built her national area because she always put God first in anything she did. And she said, when you do that, everything else will fall in place.
Yeah.
So she said, I always made sure, and she goes, and it was like amazing, and how she built her national area.
Mm.
Like she's one of the fastest. I don't know, you guys can look her up. Lorraine Newton is her name,
Hmm.
and she's pretty amazing.
I know I mean, when you say your name, I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't know who she
Yeah.
is. It's sad when they're in other seminars.
I know. Well, she's in she's like an offshoot of, and I know everybody knows her. And I'm like, I didn't realize.
Kathy Halou? Was it Kathy Halou? No.
No. Oh goodness, I'll think about it.
It'll pop up later.
I love how you talk about how you've grown. I've grown so much in my relationship with God lately that it's like it doesn't affect me if things aren't happening with my business the way I want them to, because I feel like it's so priceless what God is doing, what we're doing with each other.
Yeah.
I've actually started telling myself that I have control of my emotions, and my emotions belong to Jesus, because that's where I felt like every time I was getting ready to go
That's
out,
good.
there was mishap in my family. There was a fight with my kids, or a fight with my husband, or whatever it was that was going on. It was always like I was poopy. I didn't want to go out and touch people.
Right.
And so lately,
Right.
I have really been. I say tell myself every day and continuously throughout the day, I have control of my emotions, and my emotions belong to Jesus.
Mm.
Period. The devil doesn't, because that's exactly where he wants to come in and
Right.
get you emotional, because I'm a very emotional being.
Right.
Get me whatever was going on, get me, and it mostly happened when my feelings would get hurt.
Right.
And that rejection thing,
Yeah.
or not feeling important,
Right.
would get me down. And now I'm unshakable because of telling myself that every single day.
I
So
love
when I
it.
get the no, or I get the person who says stop texting me, and before I wanted to say you gave me your stinking number, you want me to call you? But now-
Right,
now
right,
it's just
right.
like-
What happened?
I'm just like, take it off, okay, who's next?
Next, that's so good.
So,
I would
That's
take
so
a
good.
picture up there. I'm like, is this your
That's awesome.
I feel like I'm being polite. I'm like, I mean, if I'm texting you because you didn't want me to, I'm sorry, but is this your handwriting?
have you ever done yours?
That is so funny. Yeah, no shit. Yeah, yeah.
Another quick thing. So I think what has helped doing the things that I've been doing. So, I've lost like 15 pounds.
Woo!
Yay. That's good. Yeah. And I just feel, stronger.
Mm.
But it has actually, my team has noticed. And they are rising above.
That's
So
so
they're
good.
reconnecting, and it's just been awesome. So I had like a really good month.
She
last
did.
month without-
Even though all the craziness.
even without even trying.
I know.
Nice.
So good.
So it was nice. So just do that. Just work on yourself. It's like
Yeah.
huge.
It's huge. Well, and I can tell you that, and I think a lot of this is going along with the same concept, that if you want more in your business, you have to work harder on yourself first. So Dina, what you're saying, you better be ready, because something huge is about to happen, because you've been very intentional about working on your relationship with God and working on your thought life and replacing that, because we think it's the opposite. We think we have all the success in this business and then we'll work on ourselves. And I had it backwards. I got to directorship before I even ever worked on myself. And then I was there and I was a hot mess. Then I had a lot of work to do. Yeah. I'm still a hot mess. We all have hot messes in the making or evolving. What? Hot what? Or,
Getting to directorship, and now she has to say, all right, what do I gotta do?
right. No.
Yeah,
Do it. You'll learn.
But here's the thing is, but I'm serious. This is so important. I didn't realize the value of this until I became a leader, that if you work now hard on developing yourself, your business will blossom. It's not the other way around. I mean, I have a lot of some D in my person. I'm like, why do I need affirmations? Like, that's dumb. Like, just go do it. Like, you're going to do this or not. But when I really embraced that and really worked on retraining my thoughts about myself, it changed everything. And when I'm not intentional about that, my confidence is shot. Everything is shot. Okay. So you have to work on you harder than anything else. I think we've got that, right? Everyone got that down?
Yeah.
And as leaders,
What? Have any lessons, right? Like what you're going through right now? I was just curious if you had any. I didn't mean to cut you off. Candace. I was just
No.
wondering if you-
if you're ready to share, but
shoes and not wearing heels. That's our biggest thing that we've
Lesson.
learned.
Actually, my friend went to the store today, and because they had stickers on the bottom of the shoe, right? But she had bought a pair of shoes, and I didn't realize it till after I talked to the attorney. So they'd taken all the stickers off the shoes except for one pair of the shoes. My friend just went and bought the shoes and did a videotape of how slippery the floor is.
Oh.
And
And
everything.
it's the shoes that you fell in, right? Tore it. And puzzle that low.
Oh man.
well, yeah. When you're ready to share, I'm sure there's lots of lessons that God's teaching you right now. So, but sometimes when you're in the middle of it, it's hard to see.
Yeah,
So we'll wait until a lesson has been revealed. But honestly, Christina, right now, and not just to Christina, she obviously has a physical thing going on, but we're all going through stuff. We all are going through stuff. And whether it's external or internal, most of us are really good at hiding it. But wherever you're at, and especially right now with this downtime, you got to work harder on here than anything else, because it's really easy, especially when you're sedentary, to get negative You know, when you have a physical limitation, I know for me, when I get sick, I get so just depressed. Like, I can't imagine, you know, like we've talked about. And so I'm just saying, not just, I mean, speaking to you, but speaking to everybody, whatever we're going through, like, you got to work harder on yourself right now so that it doesn't tailspin into a really bad, ugly place while you're learning the lesson. We don't know what the lesson is, but we know there's a lesson, and it'll be really awesome. It'll be really great. I think everyone else wants to tell you what the lesson is, but you and God will figure out the lesson. Yeah.
No. Shut up.
No, there's a lesson between you and God and other people. Oh, yeah. But I also think that it takes time to be still and to really hear God's voice, because we're all busy. But just like Darla was saying, that if you want huge things in your business, this needs to be a priority, is working on you. Working on you. And as a leader, I mean, you guys have heard me say this a ton, but the devil will attack you harder than anyone else because you have more influence. And that's why you got to be on your guard. And you've got to take care of yourself so that you can give to other people. You can't pour from an empty cup. You can't pour from an empty cup. So I want us to talk about, well, first of all, I'm trying to think about, okay, I'm going to go over this first, first of all, you've got to change the way you think. So because people at the top think differently. And you guys have heard me say that before. And if you've seen, like, I changed my circle of friends because I want to be around people who make me better. And I had a circle of friends like 3 years ago. They're still my friends, don't get me wrong. But I have different circle of friends now because they think differently and they are performing differently. And it's because they think up here completely differently. Even at the top director level. Does that make sense? That because you become like the 5 people you spend the most time with. And so be very intentional about your relationships. But also I want you to know that people at the top think completely different. Okay. And you want to be around people that make you better and not people that you're rescuing. Not looking at anybody in the room, because we are rescuers as women and as leaders. You want to help people. You want to save people. Oh, if I could. Oh, well, we won't even go there. But I have a lot of people are going to save the world. Can't save the world. They've got to want it for themselves. Okay. Anyways. Okay. We're first going to talk about limiting beliefs, because then we're going to talk about how to replace them. So I know you have your paper and your notes, and because to think differently, we got to reprogram and rewire up here, right? So limiting beliefs are the biggest things that are going to hold you back in your business and in life. So limiting beliefs may sound something like, I'm not good enough, I don't have what it takes, I don't know how to warm chatter. So limiting beliefs, I want you to just take a couple minutes and write down maybe the top 5 limiting beliefs you have in your business, about your business in general, or about your goals for the month or the seminar year or whatever. And then we're just going to kind of talk through. We're going to go negative for a minute, but not stay there long, because we could spend all afternoon doing that, and we're not going to do that. We're not going to contemplate on it, but you have to get it down on paper. That is the reason why I'm doing this, is because then you can change it when you actually see it on paper. Okay. So write down the top 5 limiting beliefs you have about yourself, or about your business, or about your goals, and whatever that may entail. The top 5. Okay. Just one that you hear over and over again. Like for me, okay, I'll just be honest with my seminar year-end goals. My big limiting belief is there's not enough time. I don't have enough time. It's too late. I have dilly-dallied way too long. And then I beat myself up, go to that whole place of I didn't work hard enough. So maybe there's not enough time. Maybe a big one that I know a lot of people feel towards leading, like maybe directorship, or their next goal is that I don't have what it takes. I don't know how to lead people. Maybe it's I don't have enough time. Maybe it's I can't physically do this. Whatever the limiting belief is that you hear over and over again. So it's different for everybody. Yeah. Does that kind of give you a place to start? Yeah. All right. Got a couple? Anybody brave enough to share? Because here's the deal. Here's what I want you to do with this exercise. And like I said, we're not gonna go super negative, but I want us to help each other logically replace those thoughts. So each of these limiting beliefs, you're going to come up with an affirmation that is the opposite of that. Does that make sense? Because you have to replace that negative thought. The thoughts that you are thinking, let that sink in right now. The thoughts that you are thinking right now have gotten you to where you are right now. You are where you are right now because of what you were thinking yesterday and last month. And if you want to be in a different place, you need to think a new thought. You need to think a new thought. Does that make sense? And you can't live, and most limiting beliefs are around fear. And fear and faith cannot coexist. You have one or the other. So we're going to help each other. So Jana, when you share hers, we're going to help each other come up with an affirmation and a new thought about that. Okay? Because because here's the deal, is one of the big things that I think is very important for your plan of working on you and growing yourself is having affirmations. And you need to have some powerful ones that fire you up. And they're different, but if you know what your biggest limiting beliefs are, you better have affirmations, 5 or 6 affirmations, or you better have a powerful affirmation that's going to counteract that. Does that make sense? This is why we're going there. All right, Jana. Sure, everyone can relate. Okay, so what is the truth? Okay, because the other thing going along with this is to ask, or how these limiting beliefs is it's a lie. You know, what lie have you been believing? I shared that a few months ago. Like what? So these are lies that you have been believing. So what is the truth about those things? So let's start with the first one. What was the first one? Not a leader. What is the truth, Jana? Before we tell her. I want you to write next to it what the truth is. That was a good one. A very good one. That is a good example. I would recommend having a word that fires you up before that. And so a powerful leader. I am a powerful leader.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think when you hear Jana say she's not a leader?
I think she needed a director.
Mm-hmm.
You are a
Directors are
mighty,
leaders.
you are a
No,
mighty,
no.
a mighty courageous woman of God.
You know, okay, so funny thing you said a fluke. Someone said in the show, the fluke is a fish that swims upstream.
Oh.
So, yeah, be a fluke. Be the one that swims
Fluke is a
upstream.
good thing.
See?
Fluke is a good thing.
You see him swim across the highway?
Jana?
You are definitely a leader, like you know more, like together with everybody, you're like
Yes.
one of the people that know like way more than
Products.
Are you listening?
product knowledge.
Jana, no yeah buts. This is not a yeah but.
It's hard for me because
No yeah buts. No, we're
you guys
not.
say that about me.
No buts. We're not. No, that's
It's
negative.
been something that has held me back learning everything. You know what I mean? Like, I have all this knowledge, but that's what's paralyzed me for the longest time. Is I feel I have to know everything. So instead of going and doing,
You have to
I
learn it.
just
Mm-hmm.
sat and learned.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm becoming more, and I know it's making me more powerful.
Mhm.
But it's also been
Mm-hmm.
a paralyzing time.
It's been, you've been afraid. And so you focus on learning all the stuff.
You need to tell me.
But you don't have
But
You don't have to know everything.
I know, that's, but I, like, my personality is.
I have to know everything.
How much
Yeah.
stuff I know.
She does know a lot of random stuff.
She knows how to teach a blind person how to do their own makeup.
Ah! She's done it. Uh-huh.
It's fine.
So I was gonna call Destiny and be like, hey, I'm gonna have Jen give me another facial
It was pretty cool.
Dude, I'll come watch it.
So I think we all struggle with being a leader. And I think I had told you that I'd given into that same lie. The lie that I've been believing, it was a fluke. We were number 1 last year. It was a fluke. And I literally have had lots of help with other people reminding me that it wasn't. And that was a God thing. And God gave me that honor, and it's an accolade that I'll have forever, but it is not a fluke. God has you here for a reason. So that's something I had to work through, is feeling like it was a fluke and not, who am I to be that? And so I think we can struggle with it at whatever level, but you also have to counteract it with the truth that God brought you to this point. He has you here for a reason.
Well, that
No.
it's not a fluke.
No, it's not a fluke. It's not a fluke. It's not.
That feeds into the.
Right. It does. It does. And I think that is something that, is an identity thing that we've talked about before, is that's why you've got to fight it and affirm the opposite.
Right.
I am loved. I'm a valuable, loved child of God. And that's really all that matters. We don't deserve anything. You know what I mean? But here's the thing for all of us, not just Janet, is it's not about us. And that's the problem, is that we make it about us. And that's what I had to realize, even though I was teaching this stuff, God was working on my heart to know that, number one thing wasn't about me. It was about God using me. And yes, I am very weak and inadequate on my own. I don't have everything all together. And I mess up, and I'm a hot mess, and I got craziness, tons of inadequacies and doubts and fears about myself. But that doesn't mean that God can't use me. Because this, you've heard this before, but you've got to believe it. God doesn't call the equipped, he equips the called. And if you look at any great leader in the Bible, they were so afraid. They were so nervous. They were throwing out fleeces. They were like, God, really? Are you really sure? On the phone, like I'm talking to God on the phone. Like, excuse me, God, you got the wrong number. Not this guy. Right? You mean that? You got the wrong number. Hey, it might be there. But I'm just saying, I think it's something we all struggle with, and any leader struggles with, but we have to fight it. That's why the opposite of you're not a leader is you're a powerful, strong, courageous leader, which you said loving or something. Encouraging. Janet is very encouraging. So does that make sense, how you come up with an affirmation? And it has to be in the positive. Affirmations cannot be, I am not a bad leader. Does that make sense? That they cannot be in the, yeah. So what else? Who else has something they want to share? Elizabeth?
I'm a failure. I don't finish anything. Not by choice, but life has happened and I haven't been able to finish.
Ooh, I heard some voices over there.
I did hear the voice.
You heard the voices?
But
The choices. Well, Jana, I know you had that issue of not finishing. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Of not finishing. Yeah. That was a huge deal. Is that she didn't finish 8 times because that was a limiting belief she had, is that she never finishes anything she starts. So that needs to be your opposite.
But I could have immediately told her.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to take other people's limiting beliefs and start speaking affirmations for my journey ahead.
Exactly.
So I'm already
So that you're
speaking
claiming it.
it.
So what would be the opposite of that in the truth?
I'm finishing this.
I'm finishing. I'm a finisher.
There's no.
I would claim that you're a finisher. You finish what you start. Because that is a new belief that you need to believe for yourself, that you finish. And you also, here's the bigger picture, Elizabeth. This isn't about you. By you finishing and you changing this belief about yourself, you can, number one, inspire other women, because there's a lot of women who have that same belief. I never finish what I start. I hear that a lot. That by you saying, hey, I struggled with this, and this is something that I finished and I overcame, and if I did it, so can you. Here's the second biggest thing that I hope hits home more than anything. Your kids are watching. Do you want to pass it on to your kids to not finish what they start? I'm asking you a question. Do you want to teach them that? That's why you need to finish. You want to break that pattern. And that's why I asked you, is because I want you to get to tears.
That's not nice.
And all the rest of us, thank you.
It's for the rest of you guys too. Your kids are watching, and I know I don't have kids, but you guys, they are watching you more than anything. That's the most influence you have on anyone. Do you want to pass on the limiting beliefs you have about yourself to your kids? That's why you need to do it. Because more is caught than what is taught. And I can tell you, and Darla's been around, and Janet's been around enough Nationals kids to know that they are the best kids you've ever seen because they watch their mom. They watch their mom get down, and they watch their mom get back up, and they watch their mom stick to something. And those are life lessons that you can't teach in school. You can't teach in school. You have the biggest influence on those kids than anybody ever will. Okay.
Can anybody on there talk if they want to share?
Can anybody, did you guys hear all that? Can you hear me talking? Christy, can you hear me talk? Because I'm like right here. Just want to make sure. I love you, Elizabeth.
I know.
That's why I wanted to go there, because it's not about you.
Well, and Michael actually asks me all the time, "You gonna go see Candace? You gonna go see Mary Kay?" Stuff like he knows already.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, it doesn't help that I showed him a pink Cadillac and now he wants it. So
That's motivation.
That's good. That's
he asked us
motivating.
if we were taking it home when we went to go see her. It was
It's a
great.
good thing.
Yeah, my 11-year-old told me, good job for getting into GIQ.
Hey, you're claiming it.
Into Red Jacket, he told me he was proud of me.
Mm.
And he doesn't say a lot of nice things.
I love it. So did you write that down? It's going to be your
And mine's right
affirmation.
now.
You're a finisher. And I'm teaching my kids to be finishers. I'm teaching my kids to be finishers and to not
Not
quit.
only are you teaching them, you're showing them.
Yeah, you're showing them, because you can say it all day long, but to finish is powerful. Where our actions speak louder than words, right? Yeah. Darla?
have a couple.
Yes, do share.
So one is that I've been bothering people.
Ooh,
Fire mosquito.
does anyone have that? Anyone?
All the time. That's
yeah.
pride right there, I think. Boils down to pride.
Ooh, that
That was
boils
my
down to
battle.
pride. I never thought about it that way. Wow, well, that's a different thought.
I've been the most loving.
She's like, I just met you, but you're both. No, but
Boldly. Sometimes he does.
I think it is a great thing to. Well, but I think like pride is I mean, that's at the core of a lot of what we do. We don't want to bug people. We don't want to, bother them. We feel like we're pushing them. We're making it about ourselves. And we're thinking, what is wrong with me? I'm going to look stupid. When we are truly focused on other people and not prideful, then God can really use us. And just like I don't know, what we talked about before, that most contacts or connections don't happen until the 7th or 8th time. Most people don't go that far because they're so worried about themselves and bothering people, Oh, I've struggled with it too. So what could be the opposite? What could be a new thought that you can replace that with?
And their life,
Mm-hmm.
the opportunity that we have to
Mhm.
them, they need it, and if I don't do it, then
Yeah.
where are they gonna learn from?
It's your job to.
Maybe they need Jesus.
Yeah,
Maybe
maybe they need you. Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe their salvation, absolutely, more than anything. So I would change that and say something along the lines of like, women want what I have. I am so fun. Women are chasing me down and want to book with me, and they cannot wait to answer their phones. They cannot. But in the bigger perspective is, yes, there are people out there that I'm concerned about their salvation more than this is a vehicle to be used.
I was gonna say too, I wish I could go back and see how many times Candace contacted me that I didn't answer her. Cause it was quite a few.
Yeah, it was.
And my recruiter wasn't talking to me about it.
I ignored you several times.
I'm
I'm so sorry.
To be fair, I didn't ignore Courtney. I ignored Christina, but I don't even, I maybe didn't ignore her, but I couldn't, she never stopped inviting.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I told her, keep inviting me, I'll go one of these times.
Yeah.
That's what
But
it is.
well, yeah,
Feel like
Courtney,
a mom.
yeah,
Like
she
a
didn't.
mess.
Yeah,
You're an encouraging,
You're
powerful
welcome.
leader.
Okay, and that is exactly what we need to do for others. Just what Sonia did to you is you call each other out. When you hear, and that is what I want us to do in this group, is when you hear somebody say, I'm a hot mess, Courtney, or you've got, but when people say those things that you call them out, I do it to Courtney all the time. Like, Courtney, stop being so hard on yourself. Stop being well. Then listen, and now it's your job to just start doing it, because that's what good friends do. Is they see greatness in you.
Can we hear the limiting beliefs? I know. Does anybody?
Yeah, hold on. I think Darla had one more. Did you say you had a couple?
Oh,
And then we'll have. Which part?
It's hard at times.
Mm-hmm. It's hard. And anything worth having is hard. It is hard. Now, here's what I will tell you. Well, and anything worth having is hard. Having kids is hard. Y'all look at y'all's lives. They look way harder. Having kids is hard. Marriage is hard. It is hard being married. It is hard to create a new habit and a new exercise. Oh, sorry, Darla, anything great worth having is going to be hard. And you guys, but
God wants you to lean on Him.
amen. It's
hard. God wants you to lean on Him.
yeah. She said it's hard because we're doing it on our own. That when we lean on God, and that's why, like, what we're talking about through all this is, I want you to develop a closer relationship with God. Because when you take the time to have a closer relationship with God, you will be a better leader. You'll be a happier person in general. You'll have more peace. And it causes you to rely on Him. That I had stopped getting on my face every day and saying, God, I can't do this on my own. But when I get to that place, it's so freeing.
Right. And we also have to learn that we can't take it back. Once we throw our burdens on Him and throw that, don't take it back.
And we have to give it to Him every day.
I'll say, not waiting till the last minute where it's like crazy bad.
Okay, do any of you want to share? You guys are on mute, Roxanne and Kristen. Any of you want to share maybe some of the limiting beliefs or lessons or anything going on?
Oh, they're still muted.
Hold on, let me unmute Kristen. I'll have her share. Hold on. I think we're both hitting it. There you go. Okay, now you're on.
Okay, so when I don't feel,
Oh, I hear an alarm.
that was for something else I have to do. When I don't feel confident about something, then I shut down. And so one of the scary things for me is really just like warm chatting or delivering facial boxes, just going up and talking to people that that I want to ask to do like a facial or sharing appointment. So I really have to work on building my confidence level. And so from my daily devotional the other day, it was talking about being purposeful and seeking ways to be a blessing for others. And so I had to give myself an affirmation. And so my affirmation to get me pumped up that I've been using the last week or so is every day I am seeking ways to do good and show love and kindness to others. And so I have to say that over and over and over before I get ready to go up and talk to somebody, just because like I typically will scare myself away from it. And so that will give me the confidence. So that's just one thing that I'm really, really working on is getting out of my comfort zone and going to talk to people.
Yay!
Yay! And she's doing it. Love it. Thank you for sharing, girl. All right, you're on mute again. Okay. So we have the limiting beliefs. A couple other things I want to talk about before a couple of people show up is that I want you to have, so I want us to map out a strategy and have each of you leave with the plan that you're going to work intentionally on these limiting beliefs, A. So I would create an affirmation if you need help with that. I can help you walk through that, but it's going to be the powerful opposite of it. Okay. So I, like Kristen said, a great example, like she was afraid to talk to people or I'm bothering people. I'm blessing people. People want what I have to offer. Like you have to affirm those things because it literally is a lie and you have to replace it with the truth. Sometimes it's just maybe a verse, maybe your favorite Bible verse, like I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, or whatever, something that fires you up. Okay, so I want us to have an intentional plan about how you're going to work on yourself. Okay, so for the last little bit, I want to talk about that is making sure you have a plan to work on you, and that so that we're not rotting, okay? Because we're growing or we're rotting. And if you haven't been working on growing you, then you're probably rotting, right? and you're gonna lose your energy as a leader. You're gonna get drained with people. You're gonna get burned out quicker, and you'll get more frustrated when you're not working on yourself, okay? So what are some of the things, and going along with that, you also have to be very conscientious of your energy. Okay, so those two things kind of go hand in hand. Is, first of all, are you aware of the things that suck your energy and that can totally steal your joy? What are some things, first of all, so you have to be very intentional about the negative stuff and not letting it in, and be very purposeful about increasing the positive, right? So really quickly, what are some things that suck your energy? Facebook is a big one. Limit your Facebook and TV are literally mild depressants. Write that down. Facebook and TV are mild depressants. You guys know I'm not big on Facebook. I am very intentional when I go on Facebook, and I'm gonna be honest and tell you why. Because I always end up feeling worse about myself when I get on Facebook and go browse. Always. I always compare. I always say, oh, she has all these great things going on, and my business sucks right now. And I
Facebook's not real, right? Like,
I know.
people only
That's
post
just
things that are like,
It's so impressive.
Highlight
they're
reel.
good. You know,
It is.
People's highlight reel.
you don't post when they're
Yeah.
down. Well,
Then you
Or
have
they're
the opposite. Yeah. You have those people, and I hope that you unfollow those people.
I have so noticed my intention with Facebook is like I try so hard to just limit it, and I've done really good.
Right.
I have the quality time app on my phone. If you guys don't have it, get it because it tells you how long you're on your phone.
Write that down. I'm gonna re-say it so they can hear. The quality time app she's talking about. Get it. It tells you where you're spending your time.
On your phone, like
On
it
your phone.
says you spent all this time in all these apps, and this was your number one, and this is how much time you unlocked how many times you unlocked your phone, and how much time you actually. Very scary.
On
It is,
Facebook.
but it makes you be more intentional. I'm also intentionally I unfollowed a bunch of people, I deleted a bunch of people, and the people that I do follow are positive people and church things and lots of food stuff. I still love food, and Mary Kay friends.
That brings you joy. Yeah, brings you
I
joy.
realized with my daughter's birthday this past weekend that I had invited people that aren't in my Mary Kay world. It's way different than the people that I have in my Mary Kay life. That actually I can count on and that showed up.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And we're there, and it was great. Yeah.
So be very intentional.
You know, and I trying to it's just weird how different.
Yeah. World. So sucks your energy. I would say big ones as a leader, yes, are Facebook, TV, and negative people. And JOB for those of you, yes, that have a JOB.
And my son who's almost a teenager.
Or a 20-year-old.
You have to be very, very intentional about it. So number one, what sucks your energy? Number two, what gives you energy? So I want you to write down what are the things that give you energy? What are the things that fill up your cup? Because as we're talking about growing you have to be very intentional about filling up your cup.
Phone calls with Candace.
Phone calls with Candace, good. You need to make them a priority.
Not
Yeah.
that I'm gonna put you as an idol, but the fact that you speak into us, and anybody that speaks like this, you know.
Right. Most of us don't have people. Yeah. Most people don't have people speaking into them. They don't have people speaking to them. So yes, you bring up a great point. Answer Candace's calls or call her. Y'all think I'm so busy. The last couple weeks I've been staying at home just like. But I'm over that. My books are full for next week, and I got a ton of names. And yeah, we're good. I'm over my slump. Don't worry. But I'm not as busy as you think, and I'm also never too busy for you. You guys are my priority. You're my priority. That I'm never too busy for you. So that is a lie that I'm telling you right now. You can rebuke that I'm never too busy for any of you, and I want to hear from you. And I love one of my favorite parts about this business is getting off the phone with someone and feeling like I've made a difference. That's why I do this. If you don't call me, I don't get to do that.
We're depriving you.
You're depriving me of
So that's why I go back
I'm
to
doing what I
when
get to.
discouraged is that girl that we met at she actually reported to me because she was a sexual assault survivor, and I didn't make a sale. She would love to be Mary Kay, but she doesn't have the money. And like her vulnerability that she opened up to me and was able to talk to me about things, and I was able to pour into her.
It's powerful.
That is where I go back to my thought process. It was more valuable than any sale.
Yep.
And
Yep.
you know, when you said
Yep.
that you're changing people's lives,
Yeah.
to be reminded that we don't know the impact we're making.
No.
That we just have to find that one moment that you felt great
Right.
about this.
And you
Right.
might not even see that person again.
Exactly.
No.
But to go back to that, have
Yeah.
that, you know, that memory somewhere. To
It's
overcome
huge.
the crappiness.
Yep.
You know, sometimes.
It's stressful. Like I said, leadership is not for the faint of heart. And I want to be very honest and have you know that it is hard. It is tough. But it's tough here. And it's tough when we try and do it on our own. And that's what I want this group to be, is a place that we can lean on each other. I mean, first of all, we got to lean on God and find our strength in Him, but also to have a support system that you're not alone.
Yeah.
And I want this to be a tight circle where we pull each other up. But anyways, okay, so we need to have a powerful strategy. So what fills you up? Phone calls with Candace. I know for myself, I have to take that time to be alone with the Lord. I have to be very intentional about it. And that requires rearranging your day, maybe getting up earlier. For those of you that have kids, you got to get up before the kiddos. You have to. I'm serious.
Make it a priority.
You have to make it priority because you're more important.
I know.
You're more important.
Unless we
And
have today's word.
Thank you for that word.
you have to, you're more important. You can be, okay, and I know I don't have kids, but everyone I know that has kids that does this, they're better moms because they take their time to do that.
I learned that when I first became a stay-at-home mom. Like I hadn't discovered how to do that yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I was empty and I was mean.
Yeah.
I yelled all the time. It was horrible. And my business was stuff like nothing was good.
No.
Nothing was good.
You have to take the time for you. Those of you that work a job, you got to do it before you go to work. You got to get up earlier. And it is about rearranging stuff, but you've got to make it a priority. And it's not about just rushing through your devotions and checking it off the list, because that's what I found that I had been doing over the last 5 weeks is I'd just been going through the motions with my devotions, check, going through the motions with my devotions. But there's times where you're like hungry for a word. And then there's times when you're like, I got 10 minutes. We done yet? There's a different mentality when you are there literally just to listen to what God has to say to you. It's a different kind of connection. Does that make sense? So when I'm saying devotion, I don't just mean check it off the list, right? I mean that you actually take the time to grow and to what?
I heard banging.
No, but they can wait because it's not started yet. We're starting inner circle at 4. Oh, banging, it's my husband if it's walking around. Maybe that's what it is.
I know.
We're like freaking out. Like,
Yeah, no, it's my husband when I run, he's probably back home. Okay, so here are some things that I would say be intentional to work on you. Number 1, of course, spending your time with the Lord. Number 2, you're very intentional about affirmations. I didn't like them either. And I really sucked at them. And I thought you had to, but I can also say that you, if you want to change your thoughts, you got to be intentional about it. You got to think the opposite. I have a app on my phone that's just a voice recorder, and I actually listen to my affirmations instead of saying them. because I get lazy in saying them. And you can read an affirmation and be like, I'm powerful, I'm confident, I'm a good doctor. Yeah. Okay, so I have it and literally, okay,
Can you say them for us?
I will play it for you. I listen to this. Listen to this.
Like, run away.
And run away. But you have to be in his. So I'm just saying that it can look differently. Christine, for the longest time, I thought you had to just like say them on a piece of paper, and I didn't do that. I never did that. So if this helps, maybe that would help. Find some way that you can retrain your thinking. Does that make sense?
Say, I haven't said them before, but I found a song that like gets me all pumped up, and I've been playing it every day.
Yeah.
And that's a song I decided.
Songs are good ways.
It's a song.
to
Yeah. I mean,
shift your
I'm not
energy.
saying things out loud, which is.
Yeah.
It's,
But I would say add to that
Yeah.
can be part of your plan.
Yeah.
You know, like what gives you energy. Like I love worship music. Like that helps change my energy. You know, when I'm not in a good place, like you know, you find songs that really speak to the core of your, you know, identity and your soul. And so we all have different things that can do this. So that can be part of your strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so for everybody, it's different.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like, instead of saying like, what's the song? Fight song.
Oh, fight song. Yeah,
It was playing at $1 Million Weekend. I've already decided that's my flock.
Yeah.
Directorship. So I listen to it
Yeah.
every day. And it's
Yeah,
still.
it's something that fights you up.
Who gets there first is go get your
Go get your blessing. That's good. You both can have the same one, by the way. Why don't you just do it at the same time? Just do it at the same time, and then you both can claim it and have it both be yours. Yeah, that's fine. Were you gonna add something, Darla? I saved your hand up. Right.
But Lisa,
And they're number 1 and number 2 in the company, so I think it is important.
So I remember Lisa talking about how, like, when she first did her affirmation, she was like, you know. But it was, but she said, I did it, I recorded it, and I listened to it all. When I got up in the morning, whatever, when I went to bed at night. And she said, and that, it really helped her. And it's funny because she played it for us. And it was like, oh my gosh, all this stuff came about.
Yeah, that's cool. I was. Let's wait till my husband.
I say LaRonda played hers for us. Oh, you left a little early.
Right.
I say LaRonda Daker Oh yeah, LaRonda has one that she plays the music and then she recorded on top of that.
Yeah, no, I think you should take the time to do one for yourself. Yeah. And that is going to be your homework assignment, just so you know. And if you want to play it for me, great. If not, I don't care. I don't care. I mean, I would love to hear it. Thanks, if you're embarrassed about it. I want you to do it, is what I'm saying. That came out wrong.
Just do it.
I mean,
accountability is huge.
That is part of the plan, is there needs to be accountability. Because if you're really going to make a change, you have to have accountability.
Yeah. In any church that you go to, they are going to tell you, you need to find an accountability partner or friendship group or whatever, period.
Right. And that is, yes, no, you are totally right, Dina. You got it. Because you have to have accountability. You just have to. So no, that's why I'm going to follow up with you, is I want to have you take the time to do it. And so what are the things that you want in your life? Make a list. So when you're creating an affirmation, okay, I'll just play part of mine because it's like 3 minutes long. You don't need to listen to it. But this is literally on my alarm clock, so I wake up to hearing this. So you can put it on your alarm. Yeah, he's gone. No, he just, So it set as my thing, and like sometimes from whatever schedule, like if it'll go off, and I'm like, oh, I gotta stop it. He doesn't want to hear all this stuff. Okay, so it'll just start.
I am powerful. I am the #1 director in the nation because I work hard. And I bring belief into people, and I give energy to people, and I am powerful and confident and fun. I am a world changer. God has given me a gift, and He is using me to break strongholds and to set people free in the name of Jesus.
Here you go.
I love getting up early and spending time with Jesus
Oh, you didn't hear?
so that
Yeah.
I can free in the name of
Hold on,
Jesus.
hold on.
I love getting up early every morning and starting my day off with exercise and spending time with Jesus so that I can be the most powerful version of myself and truly bless and pour into other women. I attract leaders with bounce back ability, who have great work ethic, who are loyal, positive, and godly women. They are problem solvers, teachable, decisive, and confident women. They are hungry for more in their lives, and they know that I will take them where they want to go, because I am a master at developing people, and I help women fulfill their destiny. I am a bold, brave leader who confronts things head on and has no drama in her area. I have bold conversations with people, and I stretch them so they can be the best versions of themselves. I attract sharp, powerful women, and I build them to strong Cadillac directors who are
You get it?
Yeah. I love that it's about other people. That
Exactly.
is so
And it
inspirational that,
reminds
yes,
me
what,
of what I'm here for.
Amen.
And
Thank you for
so,
sharing.
yeah, and I go on to talk about, you know, my goals and why I'm going to do it, but why I'm going to do this. Like it says, you know, I am the first $2 million director in 20 years because I'm breaking that belief barrier for other people. Like everything I do reminds me of why I'm doing it. So I would encourage you, number one with affirmations is it has to be something that motivates you. Like for me, the word powerful, I'm a powerful leader. I pour into other people. I build strong Cadillac directors. That was a limiting belief for me because I don't have one yet. You know, that I don't know how to do that. It must be about me. I must be doing something wrong, right? So that, I'm just saying everything in there is because I am countering a negative limiting belief that I had about myself. And I also said in there, if you heard, I'm a bold, brave leader. I don't like confrontation. I don't like calling people out. And so I'm claiming, does that make sense? Like I'm claiming what I want in my life. Y'all know I don't like getting up early. And, but I can tell you, that I'm reprogramming that. Okay, so because here's the other thing that changed and going along with accountability is I had stopped exercising in the morning and like, you know, I've been sleeping in and then you wake up and you're just like bleh. And I always feel better when I exercise in the morning. Always, always, always. And so a couple weeks ago, I think a couple of you know this, but y'all know that like I struggled getting up at like 7 or 8 in the morning. Like that was rough. And a couple weeks ago, I signed up for a CrossFit class at 6 a.m. at my gym. So I have to be there by 6. So that means I get my butt out of bed at 5:20. And I've done it for the last 2 weeks because I had the accountability. I was paying for it. But like just yesterday, I was like, oh, I get to sleep in because Saturday is my day off for my husband and I. And my body woke up at 5:30. I'm like, oh. So I got up early and went to the gym. And I'm just saying that you can change those habits. That I thought the limiting belief I have is I don't get up early. I can't get up early. I don't know how to get up that early. And I don't want to get up that early. But I was able to change that. And so the last 2 weeks I've gotten up early and gone to the gym. It's been awesome. I feel better. But I've also had to change the way I feel about it as well. That makes sense? So I'd encourage you to make an effort. So to answer your question, or well, not really answer your question, but to your point is, I really stuck to saying them for years. And I literally just play this on like repeat. Like literally as I'm walking up and running myself around, I'm a powerful leader. I don't feel like, you know, because the first like 5 or 10 minutes when you get up early is the worst, right? And then someone else here, it's fine. I'll go up there in a minute. And so I literally, as I'm dragging myself to the gym, I'm playing this the entire time. That makes sense? Like because the first like 15 to 20 minutes in the morning and the 15 to 20 minutes at night is when your subconscious is the most active. And so you can actually access your subconscious.
Wasn't it a director I was saying that the thought you go to bed with, it replays like 80 times when you sleep?
Yeah.
So when you're going to bed in a negative mood, it replays over, but if you're going to bed in a positive, it's
most important. So I play this in the morning. I don't really do it much more during the day and then at night too. Does that make sense? Yeah. So, I'll go over there in a minute. But so basically that would be, I would say, part of your plan. So making sure you have your quiet time, affirmations, I would add exercise. Y'all need exercise. Not to be skinny, but more for your endorphins and that you can be better. I feel better when I'm working out. When I'm not working out, I feel like poop. Seriously. Okay, well, I'm going to go tell them that they got to wait 10 minutes because we're not done. So talk about other things that
Can I share something with you guys real quick? Yeah. I had told Candace. I was like really in deep prayer one day and I started writing something down and I pulled over and God told me to back into a parking spot. And so I backed into a parking spot at Whitefield Park. And so I would joke around, but my mom's name is Kay, my daughter's name is Mary Kay, and I said Mary Kay. And I had wrote this down that I represent my mother, Mama Kay, to inspire my daughter, Zamira Kay, by empowering women with Mary Kay, or through Mary Kay. And I told Candace this story. And so I'm sitting in the car and I have the windows cracked. And here comes this homeless man carrying a huge 2x4 and a mattress cover. And he seriously is the most ugly, filthiest human being I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Remember, like, he literally walked up to my door, looked at me, and by this time my doors, I mean, they're locked, but by this, so he walks, and I'm already got my car in drive. And he walks back down and he bends down into my window and looks and makes eye contact with me. And it was God working, showing me that I'm untouchable when I've got this armor of God. Okay, but I live in Whitefield. There's not a lot of homeless people down there. And I backed in being obedient to Christ. And I was like, my daughter's kind of giggling on the phone with me because she likes to talk, and I was working, but she was still talking. So I had the phone like this and I'm really looking around, but I was in the middle of writing that. And so my affirmations are going to start with that, represent my mother.
That's so good.
Through Mary Kay. But I mean, I called her, I was like, oh my God, I called you too. I was like, oh my God, seriously, it was like a demonic being in human flesh.
That's crazy.
But I wasn't scared, but all it showed me is I'm untouchable by the blood of Christ.
Yeah.
And that I was protected in that moment. But that the devil and his demons are always around. And so
they're on the prowl. That's good. So find an affirmation, yes, that's powerful for you, and say it over and over and over again, whether it's recording it, whether some people like to write their affirmations. And I've been told that if you write them before you go to bed at night, then that can be, and like writing down what you're creating for your life. Because then you go to bed thinking about your vision and what you're creating for your life versus thinking and stressing about all the things you didn't do. Because most of us go to bed beating ourselves up about things we didn't do that day and thinking about all things we have to do the next day. But it also helps you just remind yourself of where you're headed. The other thing for your powerful plan to grow yourself is what are you reading? What are you reading? There's a lot of great books out there. I love Christina. In the first 24 hours she signed up, asked me what are good books to read, because she knew she had to work on changing here, right? If you need some great ones, there's a ton of them out there. But you become like the people you hang around with and the books you're reading, right? And so I would say, those are the big things. What else? What are the other things that you feel like you can do to be a better person? To work on you.
Well, I feel like with me, one of the things that gives me energy is just having alone time. When I'm surrounded by people all the time, it feels like it sucks me out a little bit. So like when Philip notices that, he kicked me out the other day. Yes. He's like, you need to go walk around, talk about yourself, go do something without children, without so nice
being alone.
But it's just having that alone time. Even during nap time, I just sit and take a half an hour to enjoy my lunch, to just be with me. And I mean, that sounds really silly because I'm an extrovert. I like being around people. Right. But when you're around little people all day,
they suck your energy.
Like, I love being around women, but even at career conference, I had to step out and be alone for a minute because it just gets too much for me personally. So that was my number one thing was to give me energy is having a little bit of alone time, even if it's a half an hour.
Right.
Just like recharge almost. But that's just for me personally. I can't do people all day.
You gonna say something, Sonia? Your hands up. Oh, I saw you have your hands up. You were. Say something. We want to hear from you.
So I think one of the biggest things is my plan. I've heard it time, but I don't do it. And just finding the time.
Yeah.
So I think that would help me a
finding the time to make the time.
Yeah. Because I did it. I tried to do it once, but I didn't act like I was so busy at that point in my life, and then I started writing it down, and I realized I was not. But I think that's just finding the time to do business and
Right.
do everything else, and that's probably like my biggest struggle right now.
So now that you told that, I'm gonna keep you accountable. I want to see a weekly plan sheet made out by tomorrow. Okay.
I just want to share one more thing. I know I talked a lot. I'm sorry, God bless you.
Oh my gosh.
I'm taking my
So you've been
I
challenged.
lead and I pray over them. So I pray before I go out, but I also pray over my leads. So I put them in my wallet and I pray over them
That's a great idea.
for whatever God has for me to do to touch them.
That's good. That's
That's
good.
something new for me.
That is good. Okay, so your strategy and your homework as we wrap up is I want you to make a powerful plan of how you are going to work on you. I gave you lots of great ideas. I'd try all of them, but it doesn't hurt to try all of them. I know Darla and Jan and I have done a miracle morning before, and
That can only take 6 minutes. It doesn't have to take 6.
yeah, it walks you through. You can read that book. It walks you through doing pieces of each of these every morning, and it's 6 things. Anywhere, Amazon Miracle Morning.
Oh, okay. And
Miracle Morning. Just write down, Google it. Yeah, it's awesome. Hal Elrod. It talks about how the most successful people in the world have an awesome morning routine, and how you start your morning is how the rest of your day goes, and how each day. How you win the day determines how you win the week, determines how you win the month, right? And so how you start off your morning is literally game changer in successful people versus unsuccessful people. And so that's a whole nother conversation that we can have. Like I know Darla and Jen and I created an accountability group, and maybe we do that with you guys. Did you do your miracle morning? And really it's doing 6 things. It's remind me, I don't even know. It's basically it's devotion.
It's silence, affirmation.
Silence.
visualization,
I'm saying it so they can hear it.
exercise,
Silence, affirmation,
visualization.
visualization. You're visualizing what you want, your goals, you're self-debuting on stage, a seminar, exercise, reading,
and
scribing.
scribing.
So you're journaling or
So you're
journaling.
doing all 6 of those.
All 6 of those each morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
For 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, but each of
Yeah.
them.
Like mine is an hour. Like mine's an hour. I do more exercise and then devotion and then a little bit less of the others. So you find what works for you, but it's doing pieces of those and taking the time to do it daily. Because I mean, it's literally proven most successful people in the world have awesome morning routines, and they're doing those things consistently, morning after morning after morning. So, and yeah, it takes discipline of getting up earlier than you thought you could before all the chaos begins. But before the chaos begins, the mornings that I do it, my days are always so much better. And guess what? They're more peaceful.
Yes, it's more peaceful.
And
with
more
my
joy.
children because we've had a
Yes.
chance to gather myself instead of
Yes.
waking up to the chaos of
Right.
school.
Instead of, and then you're just running.
School and
Then you're just running to catch up the rest of the day. And that is the worst feeling of feeling like you're behind. You wake up and you're behind, and the entire day you're behind, that you just feel horrible. But if you actually get up earlier, and here's another little fun fact from the book. The average person the most successful people in the world only need 4 to 6 hours of sleep. The most successful, and I've given into the lie that I need 8 hours, and anytime I don't get 8 hours, I'm so tired. But he also talks about how you think about how many hours you're going to get to sleep determines everything. If you go to bed saying, awesome, going to get 5 hours of sleep tonight, I'm so excited, you'll wake up the next morning feeling that way. If you go to bed saying, oh my God, I'm only going to get 5 hours of sleep, I'm going to be so tired tomorrow, you're going to be tired the rest of the day. That your mind is powerful. And so that's a whole nother thing. Read that book. It changed everything. So anyways, and then, so I want to see your powerful plan. So that's your homework. Don't give me an excuse. I'm so busy. You're not too busy to take care of yourself. I'm telling y'all, this is so important that if you don't take the time to work on you, you're going to fail in everything else in your life because you're not the most powerful version of you. I want each of you being the most powerful version of yourself, but it takes intention and you have to work at it. You're not just going to wake up one morning feeling more confident. You're not going to wake up one morning feeling like you're worthy to be a leader. You have to be intentionally working on you. And when you intentionally have been working on you, it is going to show up and people are going to gravitate to you like nobody's business. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I'm excited to see you guys step into your power. So I want to see your powerful plan by tomorrow. Okay? Got it? And Sonia gets to add the weekly plan sheet if that's something. But I think all of you should do it. I think it's not just Sonia because you got to have a plan. I know Roxanne, I'm throwing you under the bus because you've never done one before either. Just, I love you. I don't think anyone in the room has done one. Christina's the only one. Look at that. Christina's the only one. I would love to see you guys' weekly plan sheet. That's an extra credit point, okay? Not just for Roxanne and Christina and Sonia, because Christina already has hers. All right, guys, are you excited? And let's hold each other accountable. Yeah. Woo. All right, we love you. Let's say bye to Kristen and Roxanne. So.
Bye. Have a great week.
Oh, yay! You too.